all these harmful use cases being done with these systems, finding toxins, these kinds of things, you would get the sort of harmful cases.
What does this world look like if we create AGI?
So the reason I've worked on AI and AGI my entire life, really, and career, is because I believe if it's done properly and responsibly, it will be the most beneficial technology ever invented. So the kinds of things that I think we could be able to use it for, winding forward 10 plus years from now, is potentially curing maybe all diseases with AI, and helping with things like finding new energy sources or helping develop new energy sources, whether that's fusion or optimal batteries or new materials like new superconductors. I think some of the biggest problems that face us today as a society, whether that's climate or disease, will be helped by AI solutions. So I think if we wind forward in 10 years' time, I think the optimistic view of it will be in this sort of world of maximum human flourishing, traveling the stars, with all the technologies that AI will help bring about.
You've also been quite vocal about the need to do this responsibly to avoid the risks. Could you paint the worst case scenario for me?
Sure. Well, look, worst case, I think, has been covered a lot in science fiction. I think the two issues I worry about most are AI is going to be this fantastic technology if used in the right way, but it's a dual purpose technology and it's unbelievably powerful. It's going to be unbelievably powerful. So what that means, though, is that bad actors or would-be bad actors can repurpose that technology for potentially harmful ends. So one big challenge we have as a field and a society is how do we enable access to these technologies to the good actors to do amazing things like cure terrible diseases, at the same time as restricting access to those same technologies to would-be bad actors, whether that's individuals to all the way up to rogue nations. And that's a really hard conundrum to solve. The second thing is AGI risk itself, so risk from the technology itself as it becomes more autonomous, more agent-based like, which is what's going to happen over the next few years because they'll be more useful for all the good users. But how do we ensure that we can stay in charge of those systems, control them, interpret what they're doing, understand them, put the right guardrails in place that are not movable by very highly capable systems that are self-improving? That is also an extremely difficult challenge. So those are the two main buckets of risk. If we can get them right, then I think we'll end up in this amazing future.
It's not a worst case scenario, though. What does the worst case scenario look like?
Well, I think if you get that wrong, then you've got all these harmful use cases being done with these systems, and that can range from kind of doing the opposite of what we're trying to do with like find cures. You could end up finding toxins, these kinds of things with those same systems. And so a lot of the cases, all the good use cases, if you invert the goals of the system, you would get the sort of harmful cases. And as a society, we've got to, this is why I've been sort of in favor of international cooperation around this, because the systems, wherever they're built or however they're built, they're going to affect, they can be distributed all around the world, they're going to affect everyone, pretty much every corner of the world. So we need sort of international standards, I think, around how these systems get built, what sort of designs and goals we give them, and how they're deployed and used.
There's a lot of talk in the AI safety world about the degree to which these systems are likely to do things like power seeking, to be deceptive, to kind of, seek to disempower humans and escape their control. Do you have a strong view on whether that's like the default path, or is that a kind of tail risk? Like, what's your perspective?
My feeling on that is that the risks are unknown currently. So there's a lot of people, my colleagues and famous Turing Award winners on both sides of that argument, right? Some, like Jan LeCun would say that there's no risk here. It's sort of it's all hype. And then there are other people who think it's doomed by default, right? Jeff Hinton and Joshua Benja and people like that. And I know all these people very well. I think the right answer is somewhere in the middle, which is if you look at that debate, there's very smart people on both sides of that debate. So what that tells me is that we don't know enough about it yet to actually quantify the risk. It might turn out that as we develop these systems further, it's way easier to align these systems or keep control of these systems than we thought or we expected sort of hypothetically from here. Quite a lot of things have turned out like that so far. They've been easier than people thought, including making them useful to the world, with just some fairly simple RLHF fine-tuning on top of these models, and then suddenly they become useful chatbots. So that's interesting. So there's some evidence towards the fact that things may be a little bit easier than some of the most pessimists were thinking, but in my view, there's still significant risk, and we've got to do research carefully to kind of quantify what that risk is, and then deal with it ahead of time with as much foresight as possible, rather than after the fact. Which, with technologies this powerful and this transformative, could be extremely risky.